Welcome to Simply Mindful, your sanctuary for mental clarity and cognitive evolution. I'm Maya, and today we're embarking on a profound journey into the very architecture of our minds. We're going to explore how a practice as ancient as breathing is, in fact, the most sophisticated brain technology we possess. Before we dive deep into the neurons and networks, if you find value in this journey toward inner peace, please consider hitting the like button and sharing this video with someone you love. Your support helps us grow this mindful community together. No subscriptions, no barriers, just pure, transformative knowledge for everyone. Imagine for a moment that your brain is a high-tech control room, but instead of a calm, orderly environment, it's absolute chaos. You're surrounded by hundreds of monitors. One screen is replaying an embarrassing memory from 5 years ago. Another is flashing a bright red warning about a meeting you have next week. Voices are shouting from every corner. Fears, to-do lists, what-ifs, and regrets. This is what we call the automatic mode. In scientific terms, this state is dominated by the default mode network, or DMN. It's a large-scale brain network that becomes active when we aren't focused on the outside world and the mind is at rest. But this rest is rarely peaceful. It's where rumination lives. It's where we get lost in the past or anxious about the future. When you're in DMN mode, you're not really here. You're a passenger in a car driven by habit and unconscious bias. But what if I told you there's a way to step into the driver's seat? Mindfulness, in the light of modern neuroscience, is not just about sitting cross-legged or seeking a mystical experience. It is the systematic training of your attention regulation system. It is the conscious choice to return to the now, the present moment, without judgment. Think of your brain as a grand symphony orchestra. The DMN we talked about, they are like the string section playing a background melody. Without guidance, they grow louder and louder until they drown out everything else with the noise of distraction. Then we have the TPN, or the Task Positive Network. This is the group of instruments that play when you are deeply engaged, solving a problem, or truly listening. Mindfulness is the conductor. The conductor, our awareness, doesn't try to kill the music or stop the instruments. Instead, the conductor signals the DMN to lower its volume and directs the TPN to play with precision and grace. By practicing mindfulness, we are training this internal conductor to become more skilled, more powerful, and more present. This training isn't just a feeling, it's a physical transformation. We call this neuroplasticity, the brain's remarkable ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. When you practice being present, your prefrontal cortex, or PFC, which I like to call the CEO of the brain, actually begins to thicken. This is the area responsible for executive functions, decision-making, emotional regulation, and complex focus. Simultaneously, the amygdala, your brain's ancient alarm system or fear center, becomes less reactive. But the real magic happens in the communication between the two. Mindfulness strengthens the neural pathway between the PFC and the amygdala. It creates a top-down regulation. This means that when a stressful event occurs, your CEO can effectively talk down the alarm system. Instead of a knee-jerk emotional reaction, you gain the capacity for a conscious, measured response. How do we begin this strengthening process? It starts with the most fundamental act of life, the breath. When you focus on the sensation of air entering your nostrils or the rise and fall of your abdomen, you are activating a specialized region called the insula. The insula acts as your internal radar. It handles interoception, the sense of the physiological condition of the entire body. By simply noticing the coolness of the inhale or the warmth of the exhale, you are performing cognitive weightlifting for your insula. Research shows that in long-term practitioners, the insula physically increases in gray matter density. You are quite literally building a more resilient brain, one breath at a time. Now, you might wonder, if mindfulness is so beneficial, why is it so difficult to maintain? Why does the mind drift away the moment we try to settle in? The reason lies in our evolutionary biology. Our brains are hardwired for survival, not necessarily for serenity. For thousands of years, a wandering, hypervigilant mind was an advantage. It kept us alert to predators. But in today's world, this translates into constant distraction. However, we have a built-in GPS for our attention called the anterior cingulate cortex, or the ACC. The ACC functions as your brain's internal error detection system. Think of it as a sophisticated monitoring station that constantly checks if what you are doing aligns with what you intended to do. When you are practicing mindfulness and your mind starts to wander toward a stressful thought about work, it is your ACC that sends a signal saying, "Hey, we've drifted off course. Let's come back to the breath." For many of us, this error detection is weak from lack of use. But every time you notice your mind has wandered and you gently bring it back, you are strengthening the ACC. You are sharpening your ability to catch yourself before you spiral into negativity. In frequent practitioners, the ACC becomes more efficient, allowing for faster recovery from distractions and better emotional regulation in high-pressure situations. This leads us to one of the most transformative shifts in the human experience, the transition from reaction to response. In our daily lives, most of us operate on autopilot. Something happens, someone cuts you off in traffic, or a colleague makes a sharp remark, and you react instantly. It's an immediate somatic explosion of irritation or anger. Your brain follows a pre-programmed path, a neural highway of habit that you've traveled 1,000 times before. But as your prefrontal cortex and ACC grow stronger through mindfulness, something incredible happens. You begin to create a space. Between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose. Mindfulness turns on the lights in your internal control room. It allows you to see the emotion as it arises, rather than becoming the emotion itself. You might feel the heat of anger in your chest or the tightness in your throat. This is somatic awareness. But instead of exploding, you observe it. You recognize, there is anger arising right now. By simply labeling the emotion, you engage the PFC and dampen the amygdala's fire. The space allows you to choose a response that aligns with your values rather than your impulses. You might choose to speak calmly, or perhaps to say nothing at all. This is the definition of true mental freedom. And the most beautiful part? You don't need to spend hours in a cave to achieve this. You don't need any special equipment or beliefs. Mindfulness is simply a form of mental hygiene. Just as you brush your teeth to maintain physical health, you can practice mindfulness to maintain cognitive health. It can be found in the simplest moments, feeling the texture of the water as you wash the dishes, truly hearing the tone of a friend's voice without preparing your rebuttal, or feeling the grounding sensation of your feet against the floor as you walk. Each of these moments is a reset for your brain's high-performance hardware. You are clearing the RAM of your mind, closing the background apps of worry and stress, and returning to a state of equilibrium. As we continue, we will explore how these chemical changes, the release of GABA for calmness and serotonin for satisfaction, work together to rewire your very being. every conscious breath is an act of self-design. To truly understand the power of this practice, we must look beyond the physical structures of the brain and into the fluid world of neurochemistry. When we talk about shifting from a state of chaos to a state of calm, we are actually talking about changing the chemical composition of your nervous system. In our modern, high-stress lives, many of us are constantly bathed in cortisol and adrenaline. This is the survival cocktail. While it's useful for running away from danger, staying in this state for too long erodes our health, our sleep, and our ability to think clearly. Mindfulness acts as a natural laboratory for your brain. As you settle into the present moment and engage your parasympathetic nervous system, your brain starts to brew a different kind of cocktail. One of the primary ingredients is GABA, or gamma-aminobutyric acid. Think of GABA as the brain's natural brake. It is an inhibitory neurotransmitter that calms down overactive neurons. When your GABA levels rise, that frantic hum of anxiety begins to fade. You feel a sense of stability, a grounding of your energy. At the same time, we see an increase in serotonin. Often called the happiness molecule, serotonin is deeply linked to our sense of well-being, satisfaction, and emotional balance. By practicing mindfulness, you aren't just thinking happy thoughts, you are physically optimizing your brain's ability to feel content and at peace. But let's talk about the challenge. Many people tell me, Maya, I tried to focus on my breath, but my mind was even noisier than before. If you felt this, please understand, this is not a failure, it is a discovery. When you first sit in silence, you aren't making your mind noisy, you are simply becoming aware of how noisy it has always been. It's like turning off the TV in a room and suddenly hearing the loud hum of the air conditioner that you had ignored for hours. This awareness is the first step of metacognition, the ability to think about your thinking. As you continue to practice, you begin to notice the somatic markers of your stress. This is the bridge between the mind and the body. You might notice that when you think about a certain deadline, your shoulders instinctively shrug toward your ears or your jaw tightens. In Simply Mindful, we teach that the body is the most honest reflection of the mind. By using your insular cortex to scan these physical sensations, a process often called a body scan, you are practicing a deep form of somatic mindfulness. Instead of trying to fix the tension with your mind, you simply bring your awareness to it. You observe the tightness, you breathe into it, and in that act of non-judgmental observation, the nervous system often receives the signal it needs to finally let go. This is where we move from doing mindfulness to being mindful. It's the difference between a temporary exercise and a permanent trait. Neuroscientists distinguish between state and trait. A state is how you feel during the 5 minutes of breathing. A trait is who you become as a result of that practice. The goal of our journey here is to move these benefits from the meditation cushion and into your real life, into the way you talk to your partner, the way you handle a difficult email, and the way you treat yourself when you make a mistake. Every time you choose awareness over distraction, you are laying down a new neural track. You are moving away from the well-worn path of stress and toward a new landscape of clarity. You are, quite literally, sculpting a masterpiece from the inside out. As we reach the final stage of our exploration today, I want to leave you with a practical understanding of how to weave this neural conductor into the fabric of your daily existence. The true test of mindfulness isn't found in a quiet room. It's found in the midst of life's inevitable storms. You don't need to change your life to practice mindfulness. You only need to change how you relate to it. Every moment offers a doorway. When you are standing in line, instead of reaching for your phone to satisfy a craving for dopamine, try returning to your body. Feel the weight of your body pressing into the soles of your feet. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. This is somatic grounding. In those few seconds, you are pulling your energy out of the chaotic default mode network and placing it firmly into the task-positive network. You are giving your brain a moment of pure, restorative, offline time. Think of these small moments as microdoses of presence. Science suggests that the frequency of practice is often more important than the duration. 5 minutes of genuine, focused awareness spread throughout your day can be more transformative for your brain's architecture than an hour of struggling to sit still once a week. Each time you catch yourself in a judgment, perhaps judging yourself for being distracted or judging someone else for their behavior, simply notice it. That noticing is the ACC and the prefrontal cortex doing their job. Instead of feeding the judgment, you return to the breath, you return to the sensation, you return to the now. As you move forward from this video, I invite you to see your mind not as an enemy to be conquered, but as a garden to be tended. The weeds of anxiety and rumination will always try to grow. That is the nature of the biological mind, but you are the gardener. With every conscious breath, you are watering the seeds of clarity, resilience, and compassion. You are training your nervous system to remain flexible, to recover faster from stress, and to experience life with a depth you might have thought was lost. This journey of Simply Mindful is about returning to our natural state, a state of presence where we are no longer victims of our impulses, but masters of our responses. Thank you for dedicating this time to your mental well-being. It is the greatest gift you can give not only to yourself, but to everyone around you. When you are at peace, you become a source of peace for others. If this deep dive into the neuroscience of mindfulness resonated with you, please help us spread this light. Hit the like button to let us know you are here, and share this video with the people you love, friends, family, or anyone who might be navigating a chaotic season in their lives. Let them know that clarity is just a breath away. I'm Maya, and it has been an honor to be your guide today. Until next time, stay present, stay curious, and keep living simply mindful.